Number 8. The Lotus-Eaters. You arrive on an unfamiliar island after being blown off course for 9 days. The people living there do not attack you. They do not carry weapons. They do not lock you inside a cave or throw rocks at your ship. They simply offer you something to eat. The lotus tastes sweet, but once you swallow it, something inside your mind disappears. You forget your mission. You forget the ship waiting on the beach. You even lose the desire to return home. Odysseus sends 3 men to investigate the island. None of them wants to come back. He has to drag them to the ships while they cry and resist, then tie them beneath the rowing benches so they cannot escape and eat more. That is what makes the Lotus-Eaters dangerous. They do not kill your body. They remove the part of you that wants to survive the journey. There is no battle, no dramatic escape. You simply sit down, eat another flower, and stop caring that your family will never see you again. But they rank last because the lotus only works if you eat it. Odysseus recognizes the danger quickly, loses no men, and gets everyone back onto the ships. The next enemy does not wait for permission. Number 7. Circe. You walk toward a beautiful stone house hidden in a forest. Wild lions and wolves surround the entrance, but instead of attacking, they stand on their hind legs and behave like pets. That should probably be your first clue to leave. Inside is Circe, a powerful goddess and sorceress. She welcomes Odysseus's men, gives them food, mixes a drug into their drink, and waits for them to finish. Then she touches them with her wand. Their bodies shrink. Bristles burst through their skin. Their hands and feet become hooves. Within seconds, the entire group has been transformed into pigs. Their minds remain human. They understand what happened. They can recognize one another. They can feel fear and humiliation. But when they try to speak, only animal noises come out. Circe locks them inside a pen and throws acorns onto the ground. The only man who escapes runs back to Odysseus in tears. Odysseus goes to confront her, but he survives only because the god Hermes gives him a magical plant that protects him from her drug. When Circe tries to transform him, nothing happens. Odysseus draws his sword. Circe surrenders and eventually restores the men to human form. That keeps her low on the ranking. She has the power to erase an entire crew without swinging a weapon, but she does not actually kill them. She later feeds them, shelters them, and warns them about the horrors ahead. Circe begins as a monster. By the time Odysseus leaves, she is practically his travel advisor, and her first warning concerns a threat that has already killed everyone who listened to it. Number 6. The Sirens. The sea suddenly becomes calm. There is no wind, no crashing water, just a quiet island ahead, and 2 voices drifting across the surface. The Sirens do not chase ships, they sing. Their voices promise knowledge. They claim to understand everything that happened during the Trojan War, and everything taking place across the world. The closer you sail, the more beautiful the song becomes. You stop thinking about the rocks. You stop listening to the crew. You want only to turn the ship toward the island and hear the rest. But the Sirens are not surrounded by people who became wiser. They are surrounded by piles of human bones and rotting skin. Every sailor believed he would listen for only a moment. None of them returned to his family. Odysseus knows exactly what is coming. He softens wax and pushes it into the ears of every rower. Then, because curiosity remains one of his most consistent personality defects, he orders the crew to tie him upright against the mast. He wants to hear the song without being able to follow it. The Sirens call his name. Odysseus immediately begins struggling against the ropes and ordering his men to release him. They cannot hear the song or his commands, so they tighten the ropes and keep rowing. Once the island disappears behind them, Odysseus returns to normal. The Sirens are incredibly deadly to anyone who approaches without warning. Their victims do not even understand that they are being attacked, but they have one major weakness: wax. They are defeated by a crew refusing to listen, which makes them slightly less frightening than a monster strong enough to trap you inside its home and eat you alive. Number 5. Polyphemus. You enter a cave filled with cheese, milk, sheep, and goats. Your men tell you to take the food and leave. Odysseus refuses. He wants to meet the owner. Then the owner returns. Polyphemus is a Cyclops, a one-eyed giant so enormous that Homer compares him to a mountain peak. He drives his animals inside, lifts a boulder that none of the men could move together, and seals the entrance. Odysseus introduces himself as a stranded traveler and asks for hospitality. Polyphemus responds by grabbing 2 men, smashing them against the ground, tearing them apart, and eating everything, including their bones. The survivors cannot kill him while he sleeps because the boulder would remain trapped in the entrance. They would defeat the monster and then slowly starve beside his corpse. The next morning, Polyphemus eats 2 more men. That evening, he eats another 2. 6 people are dead before Odysseus' plan is ready. He offers the Cyclops extremely strong wine and claims that his name is Nobody. When Polyphemus collapses, Odysseus and 4 men lift a sharpened wooden stake, heat it in the fire, and drive it into his single eye. Polyphemus screams that nobody is attacking him. The other Cyclopes hear this, decide he must be sick, and leave. It is a brilliant plan. The escape is even better. Odysseus ties his men beneath the giant sheep. When Polyphemus feels the animals leaving the cave, his hands pass over their backs but miss the humans hanging underneath. They reach the ship alive. Then Odysseus ruins everything. Instead of leaving quietly, he shouts his real name back at the blinded giant. Polyphemus is the son of Poseidon. He asks his father to make Odysseus return home late, alone, and broken. Poseidon listens. Polyphemus kills only 6 men directly, but the curse created by Odysseus's pride follows the entire crew across the sea. Unfortunately, the next monster also takes exactly 6 men. The difference is that there is no clever way to stop her. Number 4. Scylla. You enter a narrow channel between 2 cliffs. Odysseus tells the crew to row as hard as they can, but he hides one important detail from them. 6 of them are about to die. Scylla lives inside a cave high above the water. She has 12 twisted legs, 6 long necks, and 6 heads. Each mouth contains 3 rows of tightly packed teeth. Her body remains hidden inside the cliff. Only the necks come down. Circe warns Odysseus that Scylla cannot be defeated. She is not a normal animal. She is an immortal horror. Stopping to fight will only give her time to attack twice. Odysseus ignores part of this warning. He puts on his armor, grabs 2 spears, and searches the cliff, still hoping he can fight her. He never even sees her coming. The crew is watching the water on the opposite side, when 6 necks shoot down from above. Each mouth grabs 1 man directly from the deck. Odysseus looks up and sees their arms and legs hanging in the air. They scream his name while Scylla pulls them toward the cave and eats them at the entrance. Polyphemus can be tricked. The Sirens can be blocked. Circe can be resisted with divine help. Scylla cannot be beaten at all. The best available strategy is to sacrifice 6 people and keep moving. And somehow, she is still the safer side of the channel. Number 3. Charybdis. Across the water from Scylla is what appears to be a violent whirlpool. It is actually Charybdis. 3 times every day, she sucks the surrounding sea downward. The water vanishes into a spinning pit so deep that the black seabed becomes visible. Then she vomits everything back into the air. If your ship is caught above her when she begins swallowing, there is no battle and no escape. The entire vessel disappears with everyone aboard it. Even Poseidon, the god of the sea, could not save you once Charybdis pulled you down. That creates the worst decision in the journey. Sail near Scylla and knowingly lose 6 men. Sail near Charybdis and possibly lose everyone. Odysseus chooses Scylla, but later, after the rest of his crew is killed and his ship is destroyed, the current carries him back toward Charybdis alone. She swallows the broken pieces of his vessel while Odysseus jumps upward and grabs the branches of a fig tree growing from the cliff. He hangs there like a bat, unable to climb up and unable to drop into the water. Below him, Charybdis holds the remains of his raft somewhere inside her. Odysseus has to wait until she spits them back out, release the branch at exactly the right moment, fall into the sea, land beside the wreckage, and paddle away using his hands. That is not a repeatable survival strategy. That is a statistical error. Charybdis ranks above Scylla because Scylla takes 6. Charybdis takes the ship. But one group manages to destroy almost the entire fleet before Odysseus even understands that he has entered a trap. Number 2. The Laestrygonians. Odysseus's fleet enters a beautiful harbor surrounded by steep cliffs. The entrance is narrow. The water inside is perfectly calm. Every ship except Odysseus's is anchored close together. It looks like the safest harbor they have found. It is actually a bowl with 1 exit. Odysseus sends 3 men inland. They meet a young woman who directs them toward the palace of her father, King Antiphates. Inside, they find the queen. She is enormous, described as being as large as a mountain. She calls her husband. Antiphates immediately grabs one of the visitors and prepares to eat him. The other 2 run back toward the ships, but the warning arrives too late. The Laestrygonians are a race of giant cannibals. They gather along the cliffs and begin throwing enormous rocks into the harbor. Ships are crushed against one another. Masts snap. Hulls split open. Sailors fall into the water. The giants spear the men like fish, drag the bodies onto land, and carry them away to be eaten. The fleet cannot spread out. It cannot turn around. Every ship is trapped behind the others. Only Odysseus had left his vessel outside the harbor. He cuts the rope and escapes. Every other ship is destroyed. Polyphemus kills 6 men inside 1 cave. Scylla kills 6 men during 1 passage. The Laestrygonians erase almost the entire fleet in minutes. Among the actual monsters, nothing in the Odyssey has a higher direct body count, but number 1 is not technically a monster. He is worse. Number 1. Poseidon. Poseidon does not need to hide in a cave. The entire sea is his weapon. After Odysseus blinds Polyphemus and foolishly reveals his name, the Cyclops asks Poseidon to punish him. From that point forward, every stretch of open water can become an attack. Poseidon can raise winds, build waves, break ships, scatter fleets, and turn a journey of weeks into years of suffering. Near the end of the voyage, Odysseus finally leaves Calypso's island alone on a raft. He spends 17 days crossing the sea and comes close enough to see land. Then Poseidon notices him. The god gathers the winds and raises a wave large enough to snap the mast and throw Odysseus underwater. His raft breaks apart. Odysseus survives only because another goddess gives him a magical veil and Athena calms the winds. That is what separates Poseidon from every other threat. Polyphemus controls one cave. Circe controls one island. The Sirens control the range of their song. Scylla and Charybdis control one narrow channel. Poseidon controls everything between them. You cannot sail around him because he is the sea beneath the ship. You cannot stab him, blind him, block your ears, or wait for him to fall asleep. And unlike the other creatures, Poseidon understands who Odysseus is. His attacks are not random feeding. They are personal. The Lotus-Eaters can make you forget home. Circe can take your body. The Sirens can take your mind. Polyphemus can eat you. Scylla can pull you from the deck. Charybdis can swallow your ship. The Laestrygonians can destroy your entire fleet. But Poseidon can make sure that even after surviving all of them, you still do not make it home. That makes him the deadliest monster in the Odyssey. Even though the real monster was never his appearance, it was the fact that Odysseus had to cross his world.